So without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce to you Gordon Dibb. And Gordon is the Chief Operating Officer for Calfrac Well Services. He's actually one of the founders, and he served as the Chief Operating Officer since September of 2007. He has over 20 years of oil field service industry experience as a senior financial, in the senior financial capacity. He has had experience in South Africa. He's from South Africa, and he is a chartered accountant, so both in both jurisdictions, South Africa and Canada. Just so happens, I want you to know this, my father was born in South Africa, so we had a bit of in Johannesburg, we had a bit of fun with this. So to make it a little bit more interactive, I always try and pick something that we get to know on a bit more of a personal basis. So because World Cup is upon us, big thing, of course, it's great to have it in South Africa. It's going to do wonders for them. And then the big game, of course, is the UK and US on Saturday. So I've got to ask everybody who's they're picking for their favorite team. So you guessed it. Yes, Gord's picking. He's picking South Africa. So without further ado, please welcome Gord to the stage.
Thank you very much, Lois. I've been entertaining Pemex people all week, and they very clearly know that tomorrow they're going to meet Bafana Bafana, which literally translated means boys, boys. And Bafana Bafana have never played in a World Cup before. So their secret weapon is going to be the fufuleza. And the fufuleza is a plastic trumpet. And they're going to be about, 80,000 people blowing these things to a dangerous decibel level. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think they're in tough. My sister was saying they were interviewing some guys this morning, and they're very nervous. So if the Fofalezers can get them through the first 10 minutes, then they'll be okay. So my discussion today is really based on our experiences when we first started in Russia. I haven't done any research on some of the changes in the rules. So there's lots of legal people here today. I've got to design my own legal disclaimer. So what I'm about to tell you. So starting off, giving an idea of the land and terrain that most people work in Russia. So the oil fields mainly are in Western Siberia, and you can see it's flat, so that's why we're getting some muskeg. There's Orenburg in the south, somewhere around here, and Samara somewhere in there as well, and some gas fields up in the north. But most of the activity is around here. Calfrac's bases are in Novobrsk and in Khanty-Mansiysk. As you can see, it's a long way from Russia. From Moscow, and you cannot drive from Novobrsk to Khanty-Mansiysk. Well, you're nuts if you do. You fly back to Moscow and then fly back to the other place. So that's another thing you get to learn in Russia. The distances are big. Doesn't come out very clearly, but there's some muskeg near Khanty-Mansiysk. Khanty-Mansiysk is quite nice because there is hard ground. So that is an unusual sight in Western Siberia. That's the accommodation in Novobrsk. And if you think your hotel is going to be any better than that, you're mistaken. This is the paradise in Western Siberia. It's Khanty-Mansiysk. There's hard ground, there's hills. There's even a biathlon course there. If you do go there, you go to the memorial to the Second World War. This is a boom town, probably 50,000 people now. Back then, maybe 10. There are thousands of names on the memorial. It's quite incredible. The one thing every town has is a beautiful church. And this is the Russian Orthodox Church in Khanty-Mansiysk, and it's such stark contrast from the rest of the town. But every town, maybe not as grandiose as this, but they all have a beautiful white church with the golden domes. Equipment and operating conditions. You can fly your equipment in. This is a slightly younger equipment than the aircraft. The aircraft's about 30 years old. It's an Antonov. It can take 3 frac pumpers with the tractors and 1 more piece of equipment. The only trouble, it costs about 5 times more expensive than shipping through St. Petersburg, but you can fly it. And it's quite incredible that an aircraft that old is still flying, and it's the only thing in the world that can transport stuff that big. Of course, you expect to operate in winter in Russia. Our cutoff normally is around -30, -35. It can get quite a lot colder than that, but winter operations, just like Canada, sometimes you have the best logistics. Even in the dry spell, the leases are soft sand. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that Kenworth is about 1 foot to 2 feet in soft sand. So you do need 6x6 vehicles. You also get mud. And you get towed out in the mud by a D8 cat. And I've seen pictures of trucks being pulled in half by these vehicles when they pull them out. So the conditions are a challenge. You have very crowded leases. And on this particular lease, you would have a workover rig working just to the east of you. You would have a Russian rig working to the west of you. And you have to get your stuff on that piece of lease. And then the other people are there before you aren't very interested in making room for you. So that's part of the logistic challenge in Russia, is you have to have Russian people that can work with these people and get your stuff on the lease, because I'm in fracking and we are responsible of getting all the fluids onto the lease before we can even start to work.